So one thing I want to talk about today is how much I've actually utilized a racing sim. This is a racing simulator stand. You use it to play 3C simulating games on PC, Xbox, PlayStation. This is a setup that I have with a Grandstand sim rig, the Logitech G920, and I play on Xbox One. I mainly play rally games, so dirt rally, and then more recently WRC 8. I play always with no assists on, no ABS, no traction control. I always use clutch shifts, and I use H pattern shifting for my manual gearbox. So pretty much zero assists, and usually realistic damage, hardest difficulty, because I don't want to learn any bad habits as far as allowing myself to hit stuff.
So here we get a look at the rig itself. It's made out of extruded aluminum. It has room for the pedals. It also has a shifter mount, and obviously somewhere for the seat and the steering. So the pedals and the shifter and the angle of the steering wheel are identical to my RSX. I will say that the shifting doesn't feel very genuine on the Logitech, but it's not really much you can do about that. So the pedals on the Logitech are actually weighted differently, so the gas pedal is easiest to push, brake pedals are hardest, and the clutch is somewhere in between. These are obviously bottom mount pedals. You can rig them up to hang down from the top like most cars, but that's a lot of work, and frankly, I'm not too worried about that part. For the steering wheel itself is a little bit small too, and it's a D-shaped wheel. I'm not, again, too worried about that, but that's just one thing to note. I was nervous a little bit about buying this Logitech setup just because it is a very entry-level, kind of the go-to for a lot of people. Worried that it wouldn't take the abuse of being used a lot, but it's actually held up pretty well. I drive at least an hour a day, about 6 days a week. So I think the rig was about $400. The steering wheel was about $300 with the shifter, and I didn't have an Xbox, so I had to buy that too. But all in, it's a little steep for the intro price, but honestly, it's paid for itself. I use it all the time. It's actually pretty fun. So here's a look at the seat. You can see the seat's on rails and attached to the rig itself, so you don't get a lot of independent movement from the seat and the wheel. You do get some play in the rig side to side, but it's negligible really. When you're playing, you don't really notice it, and everything's moving together, so it's not like the shifter's staying still and the steering wheel's moving. But I'm actually pretty happy with the Logitech. There are some things that I wish it did have, like a e-brake handle. As far as I know, there's no easy way to put one on, and I really don't feel like opening it up and running wires and doing things with switches and actual e-brake handles. So I'm just gonna leave that the way it is. I use the B button right now, which is probably the only thing that isn't a real movement like it is in a car. So here you can see the full setup. I have a 2.1 sound system, just the computer speakers really, but it really helps with the immersion aspect of it. The TV is a 37-inch LG. It's only like a 720p. Put it on top of a computer desk. Perfect for the sim rig. Perfect distance away from the wheel. You can go 3 monitors, but it's really expensive and it's really hard to do with consoles. So I doubt I'll ever go that way.
So to me, one of the biggest reasons why you wouldn't want a sim rig, and this is probably true even for me, is that it takes up so much space. This is 4x7 between the TV, the seat, so it's quite a bit of room, and it's really hard to move around, so it's not like you can put it in the corner, and you really want the seat to be in front of this TV, so there's really only one way to set it up, and I'm really glad that I have a spot where I can just have it set up and not mess with it, and it's always in the same spot every time. So I can see how that is kind of a hang up for some people. The other thing is the price. I wanted to try to get the most bang for my buck and the most realistic feel, I guess you could, for the money. There are like more expensive wheels, like direct drive wheels, but again, I got this off Amazon for Xbox One. There was really no pain in setting it up. The games were pretty much made to run using these types of wheels. So this setup is in no way specific to the rally driving that I do, apart from just being set up like my car. But even then, you could use this type of setup to do Gran Turismo or Forza or PC. Like I said, is a little bit more appealing just because there's more tunability, there's more hardware options, but you are also going to pay a lot more for a good computer that can do everything you want. Like you could probably get away using like a $400 desktop, but probably just barely, just for like one screen at a decent frame rate with basic I/O and hardware. But once you go triple monitors, once you go faster frame rate, you're definitely going to want a more expensive rig. And honestly, I was personally looking at like a $1,200 or $1,500 desktop to do this, and then realized how crazy that was before I had bought the sim rig, the pedals, the steering wheel, or any games. So decided to just go with the console route. So the only recurring cost, honestly, for this is games. So one thing to point out is I don't only drive front-wheel drive setups on this, because to me it's not about getting the realistic feel of how the car is driving on the dirt. It's getting more of the muscle memory and seeing and knowing how to react or what to expect, more so than exactly how the car's going to react. And that's kind of the big things that a lot of people who do sim racing try to help people understand, is that sim racing isn't going to help you get in your car and make your car drive faster. What it's going to do is help prepare you for situations so you can react better. It's kind of like batting practice, right? You're never going to just stand there and someone's going to throw balls so you can just smash them all day, right? So this is the same kind of thing. Like it's realistic enough, but don't take it too realistic. Like there's no player in any professional sport that has gone pro just from practice. Like it's how you perform in the actual scenario, and that's the same thing for sim racing. Like sim racing is just a tool to practice. It's not the entire gig. What matters is what you do in your car when you're actually driving on the street or the dirt, and that's it. Point. But this, like I said, is a tool to help you develop some of your skills. One thing that I really needed to work on that I didn't even realize is my footwork. So, especially with dirt driving, you use a lot of left foot braking, and moving your feet between the clutch, brake, and gas gets a little tricky sometimes. You really got fractions of a second to do everything right in order to keep the weight transfer where you want it. But yeah, footwork was definitely a big thing for me. Shifting honestly wasn't that big of a deal. Doing clutch shifts, like it's like driving a normal car. E-brake took a while to know when to pull it. Granted, it's on a button, but the timing of it and having the car set up so that way when you pull the e-brake, you don't just spin out and waste time. But yeah, it's that kind of stuff that sim racing will help you to develop to become a better driver on the track or in events. For anyone who's thinking about getting one that has the room and the money, go for it. It is a little bit frustrating at first because it's not a game. Like it's not an arcade game that's supposed to be fun, and the whole reason why you play it is to have fun. I mean, it is fun to be good and to be quick, but for the first month, you're really going to have to get used to driving on a sim rig. You're going to have to find the limits of the virtual car. Like it's going to take time to realize how much you can push it. Both me and Spencer have one. Spencer actually had one before I did. He brought Dirt 2 over and we played, and I was just like, this is awesome because I can drive without actually having to drive. And even if it is a little bit arcadey, it's still better than nothing. One thing that is rally specific that the sim rig really helps me with is pace notes. Pace notes are very unique to rallies, and if you've never done them before, it takes a long time to get used to them. I don't have the pace notes up on the screen like some people do. I don't have, like I said, no heads-up displays, so it's all by ear and by memory. So when I'm driving and I'm in top gear, going through the corners, and they're saying 6 left, 6 right, 6 right, 6 left,
usually that stuff gets called really, really far ahead just because of how quick you're going, and you have to remember, and that's one thing that this is really helping me with, is the pace notes and getting familiar with that kind of driving style, and always just being aware of what you see, what you hear, and what you feel. I know you don't feel a lot in sim rigs, but what the car feels like. But yeah, I feel like that's a huge advantage that you could have, is a sim rig, pace notes, practicing a couple hours a week even. It helps paint that picture, right? It helps paint the picture with the pace notes, the don't cuts, over crests, dips, uphills, like just those little things, you know. And that's another thing that I was talking about, is like, you're not getting used to the car, you're getting used to the scenario. So it doesn't matter what car you're in, if you're going uphill and making a turn, you can take that turn a lot quicker than if it was flat ground. And that's one thing that's obvious when you're playing these games. It's like, hey, it's a right 3. I can treat it like a right 4 and push a little bit harder because it's uphill. Or if there's a dip at the bottom, you know when you hit that dip, when your car compresses, when you compress that suspension, that's the best time to put any steering input, because that's when the wheels are going to grab. So you can either brake a little bit and turn when you hit that dip because you have maximum traction, or you can accelerate depending on what's coming next. And that's the kind of stuff that you pick up on. That's the stuff that you only get better by doing. Like, it has to become second nature. And after hours in a sim rig, like, that's really what you're working on. If you guys have any questions or want to see any other kind of footage with the sim rig, let me know. But that's pretty much it. I think I rambled on for long enough. I do have some footage of me doing a stage. These are just daily challenges on dirt. So it's really, I didn't pick the car, I didn't pick the track.
Starts 50, 6 left 30, 2 right open 6 long. Good luck. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. 56 left 30, 3 right opens, 6 long, into 1 left long. Into 3 right tightens. 50, 2 left long. 50, 4 right long. Into big cut, 5 left, into 5 right long, opens up a crest, into 5 left, extra long, into big cut, 5 right, 60, 6 left, opens 30, 6 left, into 5 right tightens, 50, 6 left, 150, 5 left, extra long, into 6 right, into cut, 5 left long, opens, 100, 6 left, 50, 6 left of a crest, slow, 50, 2 right, into 2 left long, into 3 right, 4 left, into 6 right, extra long of a crest, 60, 6 left long, tightens 4, into 6 right, keep left of a 30, 3 right tightens, into 4 left long, into caution, 3 right long, tightens 2, 100, 3 left, 30, 2 right long, opens of a crest, 30, 4 left, into 5 right, into 3 left, open 6, extra long, 30, keep left, into 2 right long, into 6 left, into 3 right long, opens, into 6 left, extra long, tightens 4, keep right to the 50, 3 left tightens, into 4 right, 30, 1 left long, tightens, into 1 right, into 2 left, into 3 right, keep left over 50, 2 right long, tightens 1, tightens, into 4 left long, opens, 30, 2 left, into 2 right, into 2 left long, opens, 50, 5 right long, into 4 left long, into 3 right tightens, into slow, 5 left, into 1 right long, tightens, opens, into 6 left, extra long, tightens 1, and 2 left tightens, 2 right, into 3 left, into 4 right, keep left over 50, 2 right long, into 5 left, into 3 left tightens, 30, 5 right long, 30, 4 left long, opens over crest, 30, 6 left long, 30, 3 right long tightens, into caution, 6 left over crest, 3 right tightens, into 6 left, into 4 right tightens, into 3 left tightens, 30, 5 left into turn, 2 left, into 5 right long, over crest, into 4 left long, into 4 right long over crest, 30, 6 right, keep right over 80, 6 left cut, 150, 4 right, opens over crest, into 4 left, extra long, opens, into 6 right long, 100, 6 right long, opens, to flat crest, into 6 right, 100, 6 left over crest long, into 5 left over crest, 50, 4 right long, into 5 left, keep left over 50, 4 right, opens, into 4 left long, opens over crest 100, 5 right long, opens 30, 4 right long, opens over crest 80, slow, 3 left, opens 5 long, 50, 6 right over crest 100, 6 left, opens 100, flat long crest 80, 5 right, extra long 50, 6 left long of a crest, into 6 right long, keep right over 80, 6 left long,